This is Mystery Mold 5 and I'm using shaving cream this week. Hello, my name is Shelby and I'm a potter. I found this bulk lot of slip casting molds and one by one I'm pouring them up to reveal whatever is inside and then finish it into an artwork. This is the Mystery Mold series, so let's see what's in today's episode. This is one of those molds that looks very plain in shape on the outside but is a little magical present on the inside, and I can't wait for you to see it. So I started off with the wrong size rubber band, so I switched that over as I wasn't producing a tight enough seal. I opened this mold up with a broken rubber band. In the end I was just having rubber band troubles and I revealed this gorgeous little owl, but the little eyes are actually flowers, so it's giving me real 70s vibes. So I thought this week was the perfect week to try doing a tie-dye effect on these pieces because I've been asked to do that. So I wanted to try a technique that I'm hoping will give me that result. There's a look at the mold before. I am trying out my first ever shaving cream piece. Now I have wanted to try out this shaving cream technique since the bubble glazing in the last season. You can use shaving cream to create a marble style effect, so I'm hoping I can kind of manipulate it to make it look a bit like I have tie-dyed these owls, like I've dunked them in a tie-dye bath, but we're just gonna see how it goes. I knew this was the perfect item because the owl has these cute little flower eyes and it's just got that perfect 70s aspect to it, and whether this is the right technique to try that on, I don't know, but I'm going to try and see. So you start with your tray and you fill it with shaving cream, and then I squirted in some underglaze and marbled it on top of the shaving cream. You then roll pieces into the shaving cream or on top of the shaving cream, but I'm trying a bit of a few different techniques to get the color on there. The one reservation I do have about this is that underglaze needs 3 coats to really pop and be vibrant. I had the same feeling when I tried the bubble glazing out. I was worried it wasn't going to show up, but it did end up showing up quite subtly, but still vibrant enough that you could see that there were bubbles. So I'm just curious whether this is going to be enough. The pieces had to be bisque fired prior to dipping them in the shaving cream, as raw unfired pottery is vulnerable to water, so putting the wet clay into wet medium means it could dissolve and lose its shape in the process. And we also are using water to wash off the shaving cream, so yeah, we just don't want wet clay, we want bisque fired clay for this. I found out the shaving cream was rather fun to get messy with. You could just roll the piece in, you could slap the cream on top, you could just throw it in. I played around with mixing colors together in the same shaving cream pot, but the one thing I did notice is that it just did not get the vibrancy or coverage I wanted to achieve my desired tie-dye style look. It is still looking really cool, but not the results I was hoping for. They kind of look like candy store gobstoppers, which is still pretty cool. I think in order to achieve the results, I would need to actually lay down a color first and then have the swirlies on top of the background color, if that makes sense. So instead of just going straight on white, I could have a color on there already and it would just give me a bit more of that vibrancy that I was hoping for. I also noticed with this technique, you could only really roll it once. After the first roll and rinse, it would become really saturated and then the underglaze wouldn't penetrate or sit on the surface in the second roll. It would just sort of like come straight off. I also noticed the shaving cream left a waxy film on the surface, making it hard to do another roll as well. When I did the first roll, I ended up bisque firing them again to get another layer on top. When I was washing the shaving cream off, it was also on my radar, and I'm just going to share this with you, that it was important not to sponge it off, so not to put the sponge directly on the piece, as it was just as if you were going to wipe the color off straight away. You sort of had to like dribble water over it so that the shaving cream would come off, rather than sort of pushing it or wiping it away. And then where the shaving cream stayed, I kind of just dabbed the sponge onto it to get the shaving cream off so that the color would stay. This is the only way I could figure out how to get the cream off without wiping the color off too in the process. It was really fun and messy, but there were like lots of fiddly little things to make the colors stay. It was really muted at this stage, so I ended up bisque firing them again and then redoing the roll with an alternating color so I could get this layered effect on top of the piece. This was when I actually started getting pretty excited about the color effect. perfect. It was where they were starting to look a bit tie-dye-y, a bit more vibrant, a bit more colors, and I was curious to see how they would fire in the kiln. Whilst I was doing this, I was thinking of ways I could improve this technique to make it a little bit more vibrant, because I still don't think it's going to be that great. And I would like to see what it would be like if you added a color stain into the shaving cream instead of, so you can buy these powdered stains, which is what they essentially make underglaze from. And I was thinking maybe I could add a stain to the underglaze to make it a really pigmented underglaze where it was really strong, so that it would become more vibrant, so that when you rolled it once, it was essentially like you were doing 3 coats of underglaze instead of just the 1 coat, and a very washy coat too. So seeing that might be a way that you could fix the issue of the vibrancy, but regardless, it may not be the effect that I was aiming for or hoping for. They still do look really cool, and I'm loving that they look like gobstoppers. Like, I think that's just so cool. They're like little Willy Wonka elves. I then added a little bit of color on each one because I really wanted the marbling to be the hero on these pieces. So I used the marbling to do the flower eyes, and then I painted on their little eyes and then plonked them into some glaze to put them in the kiln. I have so many techniques I want to try on my pottery and on the mystery molds in particular, to just sort of highlight different things you can do with pottery. I mean, there are so many ideas I've got, and there's some that I'm working on behind the scenes that I'm so excited to show you. But if you've seen a technique around, like, I love it when you guys share your ideas or things that you've seen that you would like me to try. So feel free to share techniques that you would like me to try or things that you would like me to do, because I'm more than happy to try and experiment and play around with those ideas. So essentially you don't have to, or I can figure out where it went wrong so you don't have to do the same mistakes that I've done. Like, it was kind of really fun just to be like, I'm experimenting and this is like for everyone else to learn from, so that they don't make the same mistakes. So that if you're after a desired result, I've kind of like tested it for you. It feels so weird, but like I really enjoyed that part. Yeah, let me know in the comments if there's a technique you've seen that you want me to try. I mean, I can't do everything, or like some things I'm a bit limited to based on what materials and firing temperatures I do, but I mean, I can still try lots of different things. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your feedback and your ideas on what we should do for certain pieces. And I mean, there's pieces that I haven't revealed yet where your technique might be the perfect technique to try on it. So into the kiln, and I must say that the colors did mute out a fair bit. I was expecting as much, but I didn't think that they would be so muted, especially after seeing the bisque version before I fired them with the glaze. They were so bright, but they just look pretty white. Like, they have like a bit of a coloring, but not much. Here is a look at each one. So some of them turned out better than others. I feel like some colors worked better than others. Like, I found that the green was probably the worst color. Like, I don't think that had the good of a vibrancy compared to other colors. I'd probably say that the orange and the purple turned out the best. The blue, I feel like if I did a different shade of blue, maybe a darker blue, maybe that would have worked better. I'm not sure. Some colors just work better. Here is a comparison to a unglazed piece that has nothing on it compared to what they actually look like. So that's what I'm saying, that the color is not really there at all in comparison to the white one. Here is the sound of them rubbing together. Regardless, I still think that this was such a cool experiment and I had so much fun playing with it. It was such a mess, but I loved it. Let me know what you thought of this technique and whether you would try it. Thank you so much for watching. Here is your sneak peek for next week, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.